Welcome to another deep dive. We're going way beyond counting today, like exploring how numbers themselves can unlock the universe, like a hidden code, right in front of us this whole time. And our guide for this is Dr. Harriet Augusta Curtis's book, The Key to the Universe. Get ready for a deep dive into the occult philosophy of numbers.
Yeah, it's like a secret language, connecting ancient wisdom with nature, the human body, even the spiritual realm.
Okay, sign me up. Let's crack this code. First, what did numbers mean to ancient cultures, and how did those meanings become what we know as occult philosophy today?
Well, for example, the ancient Egyptians, they didn't just see numbers as quantities, they saw them as powerful symbols that reflected the structure of the universe. Take one, for example.
The simplest, most basic number. What's so special about that?
Well, in Dr. Curtis's book, she describes one as the upright man, and she connects it to all sorts of interesting things. The human spine, the Hebrew letter Aleph, even the unmanifested deity in activity.
Whoa. Unmanifested deity in activity. Can you break that down?
It's like the idea that there's a primal force, like a source of all creation, that exists before anything shows up in the material world. It's like potential energy before a seed sprouts, or the silent power before a wave crashes. That's that unmanifested deity in activity. And that potential is symbolized by the number one.
So one isn't just about being first. It's about the potential for all creation. That's way deeper than I ever thought about it.
Right. And this whole one is the source of creation connects to Aleph, too. Aleph represents beginnings, the first breath, the creative force that sets everything in motion, like the Big Bang of the Hebrew alphabet.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all of these pieces fit together, but what about the human spine? What's that got to do with anything?
Well, Dr. Curtis suggests that just as the spine makes us upright beings, the number one represents that upward striving, the journey towards the divine. It's about tapping into our potential, reaching for something higher.
So it's not just standing up straight physically, it's about that inner drive to grow and evolve.
Exactly. And speaking of striving toward the divine, Dr. Curtis makes another interesting connection with the number one, the Pleiades star cluster.
The Pleiades, I know they're a beautiful group of stars, but what's their connection to all of this?
Well, in a lot of ancient cultures, the Pleiades were considered a central point that the whole universe revolves around. And guess what? They're linked to the first letter Aleph in esoteric traditions.
Hold on, so we've got the number one, the upright human, the creative force of Aleph, and now the Pleiades as a kind of cosmic starting point. It's like they're all pointing in the same direction. Upwards? What happens when we go from 1 to 2?
Well, in contrast to that unity and potential of one, the number two represents duality, the division of one into two. It's that fundamental separation that creates the world as we know it.
Okay, so 2 is about opposites, like light and dark, good and evil.
Yeah, but it's more than just opposing forces. It's the recognition that the material world is built on duality. Think of the second Hebrew letter, Beth, meaning house or birthplace.
A house, a birthplace. How does that fit into duality?
Well, Dr. Curtis points out that Beth symbolizes both the womb of nature and the womb of woman. It represents creation through the interplay of male and female energies, that fundamental duality.
So 2 is about the potential of 1 becoming manifested through this interplay of opposites. That makes the second commandment, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, a lot more interesting.
Right. It's like a warning against getting so caught up in the physical representations, the graven images, that we forget the underlying unity behind them.
Yeah, it's a reminder that the world we see is just one level of reality. There's a deeper truth beyond the separation of opposites. Okay, I'm ready for 3. What's the occult philosophy behind that?
The number 3 represents the reconciliation of that duality, the emergence of a third force from the interaction of 2. It's the divine spark, the creative energy that brings things into existence.
That makes me think of the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, a concept that shows up in a lot of spiritual traditions.
Exactly. And Dr. Curtis takes it a step further, connecting the number 3 to the 3 mothers, fire, water, and air, the fundamental elements from which all things manifest.
Oh, I love how this links back to ancient beliefs about creation. You know, there's a biblical story that fits in here too, the story of the 3 mothers at the tomb.
Right. It's like a symbolic representation of those 3 fundamental forces that give birth to everything in the universe.
And Dr. Curtis connects the number 3 to heat, light, and electricity too. It's like this number is buzzing with energy.
She describes heat as the resistance matter offers to the spiritual flame. It's fascinating because it suggests that our challenges, our struggles, can actually fuel our spiritual growth.
Whoa, that's a powerful way to look at it. Our struggles aren't just obstacles, they're opportunities to refine and strengthen our inner flame. Okay, let's move on to number 4. What kind of stability does this one bring?
Well, think about the symbolism of the number 4.
Yeah.
4 corners of the earth, 4 winds of heaven, 4 seasons. It's about establishing a foundation,
Yeah.
creating structure and order in the world.
That makes me think of the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, representing the 4 beasts mentioned in Revelation. It seems like these 4 symbolize the challenges we face in the material world.
Right. Dr. Curtis connects the 4 to the concept of squaring our lives, meaning building a solid foundation for ourselves. But it's not just about material stability. It's also about mastering our animal nature, developing virtues like courage, wisdom, and compassion.
So it's like taking that divine spark, represented by the number 3, and grounding it in the material world, building something real and lasting. Now, what about number 5? Dr. Curtis seems to associate this one with some darker themes.
Yeah, she links number 5 to black magic and the Pentagon, which might seem a little unsettling at first. But remember, in occult philosophy, every symbol has both positive and negative aspects.
So what's the positive side of the number 5 then?
Think about the human being. 5 senses, 5 extremities, 5 fingers on each hand. The number 5 represents our potential, our capacity to create and experience the world through our senses.
But that also means we have the potential to misuse our power, to get caught up in the material world and lose sight of the spiritual.
Exactly. And that's where the connection to black magic comes in. Dr. Curtis uses the pentagram as an example. When it's upright, it symbolizes the human being harnessing their powers for good. But when it's inverted, it represents the material dominating the spiritual, leading to a perversion of that power.
So 5 is like a crossroads, a reminder that we have a choice to make. Will we use our powers for good or for selfish gain? That's a pretty intense concept for such a seemingly simple number.
It is. But it's also a reminder of our incredible potential as human beings. We have the power to choose our path and to create the reality we want to experience.
I'm starting to see how each number builds on the previous ones, revealing a deeper layer of understanding about ourselves and the universe. Now, what about number 6? Dr. Curtis makes some pretty interesting connections there, linking it to creation, labor, even ants and bees.
It's all about the creative principle at work in the universe. The number 6 represents that active force that brings things into being. Think about the 6 days of creation in the Bible.
And what about the ants and bees? How do they fit into this grand scheme?
Well, Dr. Curtis sees them as symbols of tireless labor, of working in harmony with natural laws, to create something beneficial. She even points out that both are believed to have come to this planet from Venus.
Venus, the planet of love and harmony. So it's like their work is infused with love, with a desire to contribute to the greater good. It makes you wonder if our own work should be more like that, focused on creating something beautiful and beneficial for the world.
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? The number 6 reminds us that we're all creators, and that our work can be an expression of our love and our desire to make a positive impact.
Okay, we're making good progress through this cosmic code. We've gone from unity to duality, from the spark of creation to the foundation of the material world, and now to the principle of creative work. What's next on this numerical journey?
Well, buckle up, because the number 7 takes us into the realm of completion, perfection, and some pretty mind-blowing connections to the human body.
Oh, I love this idea of the human body as a microcosm of the universe. Tell me more.
Well, Dr. Curtis explains that just as the universe is governed by 7 planets, according to ancient understanding, of course, our bodies are 7-fold in their construction. We have 7 natural divisions of the body. The human embryo has 7 parts. Even the gestation periods of many animals are divisible by 7.
Hold on, are you telling me that my body is like a miniature universe, reflecting the grand design of the cosmos? That's incredible.
It is, and it gets even deeper. Dr. Curtis points out that most diseases run their course in periods divisible by 7. And even the menstrual cycle is 28 days. 4 times 7. It's like the number 7 is woven into the very fabric of life.
It's mind-blowing to think that there's this underlying order, this cosmic rhythm that governs everything, from the stars to our own bodies. It makes you realize that we're not just separate individuals, but part of something much greater.
Exactly. The number 7 reminds us that we're all interconnected, and that there's a deeper harmony at work in the universe, even when we can't see it.
Okay, I'm ready for the next layer of this cosmic code. What does number 8 reveal about this interconnected web we're all part of? All right, number 8. This one always gives me a mysterious vibe, almost ominous. What's the occult perspective on it?
The number 8 is powerful. It represents karma, balance, and the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It's about those universal laws that govern cause and effect, the consequences of our actions.
So 8 is about reaping what we sow, facing the music, so to speak.
Exactly. Think of that Egyptian concept of the balance, the weighing of the soul after death. It's depicted in the Book of the Dead, where the heart of the deceased is weighed against the feather of truth.
I've seen those images, but I never really thought about the deeper meaning.
Well, if the heart is lighter than the feather, the soul is deemed worthy to pass into the afterlife. But if it's weighed down by negativity, wrongdoing, the soul faces consequences.
Whoa. Intense. It's like a cosmic accounting of our actions. But 8 isn't just about punishment, is it?
No, it's about balance and the natural cycles of existence. Death isn't seen as an end, but as a transition, a return to the source before a new beginning, like the changing seasons, the decomposition of matter, the emergence of new life from decay. It's a reminder that endings are also beginnings.
I'm starting to see why 8 has that cyclical energy. It's not just about what we do, but about understanding that everything is in constant flux, a never-ending dance of creation and destruction. Okay, let's move on to number 9. What kind of mystical vibes does this one bring to the table?
Number 9 represents initiation, the culmination of a cycle, and the letting go of the old to make way for the new. Think about the significance of the ninth hour.
The 9th hour? What's special about that?
Well, in Dr. Curtis's book, she connects the ninth hour to a moment of darkness and surrender before the dawn of a new day, like that point of greatest darkness just before the sun rises.
So 9 is about facing our fears, shedding limiting beliefs, stepping into a new phase of our lives.
Exactly. It's a threshold, a point of transformation. And you see this idea of initiation echoed in mystical traditions all over the world. It's about passing through trials and emerging transformed, like a caterpillar entering the cocoon and emerging as a butterfly.
That's a powerful analogy. Speaking of transformation, what about the 9 lives of a cat? Is there any occult significance to that?
Well, it's not just a superstition. Dr. Curtis explains that the cat was revered in ancient Egypt for its ability to see in the dark and the way it curls up in a circle while sleeping, symbolizing regeneration and the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The 9 lives are symbolic of those multiple transformations we go through on our spiritual journeys.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. So the number 9 is about reaching a pinnacle, completing a cycle, and preparing for a new beginning. And now for the grand finale, the number 10. What does this combination of the first 10 digits represent in occult philosophy?
The number 10 represents the integration of all that came before, the completion of a cycle, and the realization of our full potential as divine beings, like reaching the peak of a mountain after a long and arduous climb.
And I remember Dr. Curtis pointing out that the biblical creation story culminates on the 10th day, with God declaring everything very good. It's like a divine stamp of approval on the whole creation process.
Exactly. It signifies the fulfillment of a divine plan, the realization of a vision. Think of it as that moment of looking back on your journey and recognizing how far you've come.
So 10 is about achieving wholeness, recognizing our divine nature, and stepping into our full potential. That's a pretty amazing way to end this exploration of the first 10 numbers. But wait, there are a lot more numbers beyond 10. What happens to all those? Do they have occult meanings too?
Absolutely. Dr. Curtis explains that even larger numbers can be reduced to a single digit. By adding their digits together, it's a process called reducing to a theosophical addition.
Theosophical addition? That sounds pretty complex. Can you give me an example?
Sure. Take the number 11. If you add 1 plus 1, you get 2, which connects 11 back to the principle of duality. Or consider the number 22, a master number in numerology. 2 plus 2 equals 4, emphasizing the themes of structure, foundation, and the material world.
So even as we move into larger numbers, we're still working with those core principles. Represented by the first 10 digits, it's like those first 10 numbers are the building blocks of a cosmic language, and we're learning to decode its hidden messages.
Precisely. And Dr. Curtis delves into some fascinating examples of larger numbers and their occult significance. The number 12, for instance, is a recurring theme in mythology, religion, even astronomy.
I've noticed that. 12 months in a year, 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles of Jesus. It's everywhere. What's so special about the number 12?
Well, Dr. Curtis calls it the number of the great work, the zodiac and the divine man in the heavens. It represents completion and cosmic order, reflecting the macrocosm, the universe in its entirety, and the microcosm, the human being, as a reflection of that larger order.
So the number 12 is like a blueprint for both the universe and ourselves. That's a lot to unpack.
It is, but it's a fascinating journey. Think of it this way. The great work, the alchemical process of spiritual transformation, is about refining our base metals, our lower nature into gold, our higher self.
And the 12 steps of this process are represented by the 12 signs of the zodiac.
Exactly. Each sign represents a different stage of that journey, a different aspect of our being that needs to be mastered. It's a cyclical process, a spiral of evolution that ultimately leads us towards wholeness.
Okay, I'm starting to see how the number 12 fits into this grand scheme of occult philosophy. It's not just a random number. It's a symbol of cosmic order, spiritual transformation, and the journey towards realizing our full potential. But what about the divine man in the heavens? How does that connect to the number 12?
Well, Dr. Curtis explains that the ancients saw the constellations as representations of archetypal energies. The divine man, often depicted as Orion, symbolizes the perfected human being, the one who has mastered the 12 signs of the zodiac and achieved cosmic consciousness.
So it's like a celestial blueprint for our own spiritual evolution. We're all striving to become that divine man, to embody the wisdom and power of the cosmos.
It's a journey that requires courage, determination, and a willingness to face our shadows. But the rewards are immeasurable. A life filled with purpose, meaning, and connection to something far greater than ourselves.
Speaking of hidden meanings and cosmic connections, Dr. Curtis also mentions this mysterious deck of cards called the tarot. She says it's a key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe, and that it's based on numerical symbolism.
The tarot is a fascinating tool for self-discovery and divination. It's believed to have originated in ancient Egypt, and its 78 cards are filled with symbolism that taps into the collective unconscious.
And how do numbers play into this?
Well, each card in the tarot is associated with a specific number, and those numbers hold deep meaning. For example, the Magician card is associated with the number 1, representing the power of manifestation, the ability to bring our thoughts and desires into reality.
And the High Priestess card is associated with the number 2, representing intuition, wisdom, and the mysteries of the subconscious.
Exactly. The tarot is a language of symbols, and numbers are a key part of that language. By understanding the numerical symbolism within the tarot, we can gain deeper insights into ourselves, our relationships, and our life path.
This is blowing my mind. It's like the universe is speaking to us through numbers, through symbols, through ancient wisdom traditions. We just need to learn to listen.
That's the essence of occult philosophy, to unlock the hidden knowledge that's all around us, waiting to be discovered.
Okay, so we've gone from the building blocks of the first 10 numbers to the cosmic significance of the number 12 and the symbolic language of the tarot. What other mind-blowing numerical concepts does Dr. Curtis explore?
Well, she dives into this fascinating idea of the human body as a microcosm of the universe. Just as the universe is composed of 12 constellations, our bodies are composed of 12 major systems: skeletal, muscular, nervous, circulatory, respiratory, digestive, endocrine, lymphatic, urinary, reproductive, integumentary, and immune.
Whoa, 12 major systems. It's like our bodies are miniature universes, mirroring the grand design of the cosmos. Within ourselves, that's incredible.
It is. It's a reminder that we're intimately connected to the universe, that the same forces that govern the stars and planets also flow through our veins.
And speaking of those flowing forces, Dr. Curtis also connects the number 12 to the concept of the 12 powers of man. What are those all about?
She explains that each of the 12 signs of the zodiac corresponds to a specific power or faculty within us. For example, Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is associated with courage and initiative, while Taurus, the second sign, is associated with patience and perseverance.
So by understanding the qualities of each zodiac sign, we can gain insights into our own strengths and weaknesses, our hidden talents and potential challenges.
It's a powerful tool for self-discovery and personal growth. By aligning ourselves with the energies of the zodiac, we can tap into our full potential and live more fulfilling lives.
This is all starting to make so much sense. But tell me, does this journey through the numbers ever end?
Well, it's less about an ending and more about cycles within cycles.
Yeah.
Just as there are 12 months in a year, there are larger cycles of time that govern the evolution of humanity and the cosmos. These cycles are often referred to as yugas in Hindu cosmology.
Yugas. I've heard of those. They represent vast periods of time, right? But how do they connect to the numbers we've been talking about?
Each yuga represents a different stage of spiritual development, a different level of consciousness. According to Hindu teachings, we're currently in the Kali Yuga, the darkest age, characterized by ignorance, materialism, and conflict. But it's also a time of great opportunity, for souls to awaken and realize their true nature.
So even though it's a dark age, it's also a time for us to remember our divine heritage, to reconnect with our spiritual essence, and to contribute to the evolution of consciousness.
Exactly. And as we move through these cycles, we're constantly learning, evolving, and growing. It's a never-ending journey of discovery and transformation.
Okay, so far we've seen how numbers can reveal patterns in the cosmos, in human nature, even in our spiritual development. But I have to ask, what about the number 13? It gets such a bad rap. Is it really unlucky?
Dr. Curtis addresses that common misconception. She suggests that the number 13 actually represents transformation and rebirth. It's the number of death and resurrection, the breaking down of old structures to make way for the new.
That makes a lot more sense than just bad luck. And it reminds me of the 13th card in the tarot, Death, which isn't about literal death, but rather a symbolic ending, a necessary transformation.
Precisely. The death card signifies the shedding of old patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that no longer serve us. It's about letting go of the past and embracing the unknown, trusting that something better awaits us on the other side.
So the number 13 isn't something to fear, but rather a reminder that endings are also beginnings, and that transformation is an integral part of the journey of evolution.
Exactly. It's about embracing change and recognizing the opportunities for growth that come with it.
This is making me rethink my whole perspective on the number 13. Now, what about the number 14? What kind of energy does this one bring to the table?
The number 14 represents temperance and balance, the harmonious blending of opposites. It's about finding that middle path, avoiding extremes, and creating a state of equilibrium within ourselves and in our lives.
That makes me think of the 14th card in the tarot, Temperance, which depicts an angel pouring water from one cup to another. It's like a visual representation of that blending and balancing energy.
Exactly. The Temperance card signifies the blending of our spiritual and material natures, the integration of our higher and lower selves. It's about finding that sweet spot where we're neither too indulgent nor too restrictive.
So the number 14 reminds us that true happiness lies in finding balance, in living in harmony with ourselves and the world around us.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that life is a dance between opposites, and that true fulfillment comes from finding that harmonious balance.
Okay, we've explored the transformative power of 13 and the balancing energy of 14. What's next on this numerical journey?
The number 15 takes us into the realm of temptation and the shadow self. It represents the challenges we face in integrating those darker aspects of ourselves that we often try to hide or deny.
That makes me think of the 15th card in the tarot, the Devil, which isn't about some external evil being, but rather about those inner demons we all wrestle with.
Exactly. The Devil card signifies the temptations of the material world, the attachments to ego and desire that keep us trapped in cycles of suffering. It's about recognizing those shadows within ourselves and integrating them into our wholeness.
So the number 15 is a reminder that we all have a shadow side, and that by acknowledging and integrating those aspects of ourselves, we can achieve true wholeness.
Precisely. It's about facing our fears, embracing our imperfections, and recognizing that even our darkest aspects can be a source of growth and transformation.
This is a lot to process. I'm starting to see how these numbers aren't just arbitrary symbols, but reflections of deep truths about human nature and the universe. What about the number 16? What kind of insights does that one offer?
The number 16 represents a sudden and unexpected upheaval, a breaking down of old structures and beliefs that no longer serve us. It's about facing the truth, no matter how painful it may be, and rebuilding our lives on a stronger foundation.
That sounds intense. It makes me think of the 16th card in the tarot, the Tower, which depicts a lightning bolt striking a tower, scattering people and debris. It's like a visual representation of that shattering experience.
Exactly. The Tower card signifies the shattering of illusions, the breaking down of our ego defenses, and the dismantling of false beliefs. It can be a painful experience, but it's ultimately necessary for growth and transformation.
So the number 16 is a reminder that sometimes we need to be shaken out of our complacency, forced to confront the truth and rebuild our lives from the ground up.
Precisely. It's about embracing those moments of upheaval as opportunities for growth and transformation.
Okay, I'm getting a sense that these higher numbers are getting more and more intense. What about the number 17? Does it offer any relief from all this upheaval?
The number 17 represents a renewed sense of hope and inspiration. After a period of darkness or difficulty, it's about finding our inner light, connecting with our spiritual guidance, and trusting in the benevolent forces of the universe.
That sounds like a welcome shift in energy. It makes me think of the 17th card in the tarot, the Star, which depicts a naked woman pouring water from two pitchers into a pool. It's like a visual representation of that replenishment and renewal.
Exactly. The star card signifies a time of healing, renewal, and spiritual awakening. It's about finding hope amidst despair, trusting that even in the darkest of times, there's always a light to guide us.
So the number 17 reminds us that even when things seem bleak, there's always hope, and that by trusting in the benevolent forces of the universe, we can overcome any obstacle.
Precisely. It's a reminder that the universe is ultimately benevolent, and that we're never truly alone in our struggles.
This is giving me a new appreciation for the power of numbers. Now, what about the number 18? What kind of mystical depths does this one reveal?
The number 18 represents the hidden depths of our being, the realm of emotions, intuition, and the unconscious mind. It's about exploring our dreams, our fears, and those shadow aspects of ourselves that we often try to hide or deny.
That makes me think of the 18th card in the tarot, the moon, which depicts two dogs howling at the moon, representing the duality of our nature, the light and shadow sides that we must integrate to achieve wholeness.
Exactly. The moon card signifies the mysteries of the subconscious, the hidden motivations and desires that drive our behavior. It's about facing our fears, confronting our shadow side, and bringing the unconscious into conscious awareness.
So the number 18 is a reminder that we're more than just our conscious thoughts and actions, that we have a vast and complex inner world that needs to be explored and understood.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that the journey towards wholeness involves integrating all aspects of ourselves, both light and shadow.
Okay, we've explored the shadows of 18. What illuminating insights does the number 19 offer?
The number 19 represents the radiant power of our true selves, the divine spark within us that shines brightly when we're living in alignment with our purpose. It's about overcoming the darkness of ignorance, illusion, and negativity, and radiating our light into the world.
That sounds like a powerful energy. It makes me think of the 19th card in the tarot, the sun, which depicts a naked child riding a white horse beneath a radiant sun, symbolizing the joy, innocence, and vitality that come with spiritual awakening.
Exactly. The sun card signifies a time of happiness, success, and fulfillment. It's about basking in the warmth of our own inner light, radiating our joy and love into the world, and experiencing life with a sense of childlike wonder.
So the number 19 reminds us that we are all radiant beings, capable of great love, joy, and creativity. By letting our light shine, we can make the world a brighter place.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's about recognizing our own inherent worthiness and sharing our unique gifts with the world.
This has been an incredible journey through the numbers so far. I'm starting to see how each one offers a unique perspective on ourselves and the universe. What's next on our numerical adventure?
The number 20 brings us to a point of judgment and discernment. It represents a time of reckoning, a period of evaluating our choices and actions, and making decisions about our future direction.
That makes me think of the 20th card in the tarot, Judgment, which depicts an angel blowing a trumpet, awakening the dead from their graves. It's like a call to wake up, to face the truth about ourselves, and make amends for our past mistakes.
Exactly. The Judgment card signifies a time of reckoning, a moment of truth, when we're called to account for our actions and make changes for the better. It's about letting go of the past, embracing forgiveness, and stepping into a new chapter of our lives.
So the number 20 encourages us to live with integrity, to make choices that are aligned with our highest values, and to take responsibility for the impact our actions have on ourselves and others.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that our choices have consequences, and that we have the power to create the reality we want to experience.
This is making me rethink my whole approach to decision-making. Now, what about the number 21? What kind of culmination does this one bring to our numerical journey?
Okay, we've explored the first 20 numbers, and I have to say my mind is blown. It's amazing how much depth and meaning is hidden in these seemingly simple symbols. But I'm curious, where do we go from here? Is there more to discover in this realm of numerical symbolism?
Absolutely. Dr. Curtis doesn't stop at 21. She goes on to explore even larger numbers and their significance in occult philosophy. She explains that there are certain numbers like 360 and 72 that hold a special significance.
Well, those numbers sound familiar. 360 degrees in a circle, 360 days in an ancient year, 72 names of God in the Kabbalah. It's like they're woven into the fabric of reality.
Exactly. These numbers are often referred to as sacred numbers or cosmic constants. They appear in various mystical traditions and seem to hold a key to understanding the underlying structure of the universe. But are they just random numbers that happen to pop up in different places, or is there a deeper meaning behind them?
Well, Dr. Curtis suggests that these numbers are not arbitrary, but reflect a deep understanding of cosmic principles, a recognition of the patterns and cycles that govern the universe. For example, the number 360, representing a full circle, symbolizes wholeness, completion, and the cyclical nature of time.
That makes sense. A circle has no beginning and no end. It just keeps going. It's a perfect symbol for the eternal cycles of creation and destruction we've been talking about. But what about the number 72? What kind of cosmic secrets does that one hold?
The number 72 is often associated with the divine name in various traditions. In the Kabbalah, for instance, there are 72 names of God, each representing a different aspect of the divine.
So it's not just about the quantity of names, but about the vibrational frequencies those names represent.
That's a key principle in occult philosophy, the power of sound and vibration. The ancients believed that the universe was created through sound, through the Word of God. By understanding the vibrational frequencies of sacred names, we can tap into the creative forces of the cosmos.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing. It makes you think about the importance of the words we speak, the thoughts we think, the vibrations we send out into the world. If the universe was created through sound, then maybe we have more power than we realize to shape our reality through our own vibrations.
It's a powerful concept, isn't it?
Mhm.
And it emphasizes the importance of aligning ourselves with the vibrations of love, harmony, and healing.
Speaking of aligning with higher vibrations, Dr. Curtis mentions this practice called gematria, which sounds fascinating. Can you tell me more about that?
Gematria is the practice of assigning numerical values to letters and words. It's based on the idea that each letter has a specific numerical value. And by adding those values together, we can discover deeper layers of meaning within words and phrases.
So it's like a secret code hidden within language itself. It makes you wonder how much meaning we miss in our everyday communication, just because we're not aware of these deeper connections.
Exactly. Gematria is a way of deciphering that hidden language, of uncovering the deeper meanings and connections that often go unnoticed. It allows us to see patterns and relationships that wouldn't be apparent otherwise.
This whole deep dive into numerical symbolism has been a truly mind-expanding experience. It's like I've been looking at the world through a very limited lens, and now I'm starting to see a much broader spectrum of meaning and connection.
It's amazing how these ancient teachings can still resonate so deeply with us today. They offer a timeless wisdom that transcends cultural boundaries and speaks to the core of our being.
I couldn't agree more. I'm leaving this conversation with a profound sense of awe and wonder, and a deep appreciation for the power of numbers to unlock the mysteries of the universe.
Well, it's been a pleasure exploring these concepts with you. Remember, the journey of discovery never truly ends. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep listening to the whispers of the universe. The mysteries are all around us, waiting to be revealed.
Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible deep dive. It's been an unforgettable journey. And to you, dear listener, thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the world of numerical symbolism with us. May your own journey be filled with wonder, discovery, and the joy of unlocking the hidden wisdom of the cosmos.